Spiritual information warfare is not something new, uh, but especially last few years, we often heard everyone is speaking about we're facing spiritual warfare, information warfare, the fight for our soul, the humanness. All of these things are in discussion in parallel to our everyday life. Uh, Before we go into all the external factors, it's really important for us to have a clarity about what is and how is this spiritual warfare is happening and affecting us everyday life since the beginning of time. Spiritual warfare is possible because of our lack of connection. We aren't in alignment with the source and the creator. So, which is why we are having such a hard time to navigate life during these difficult circumstances. In the present planet, we are speaking about all of these things. We are all following science. We are all high accomplished professors, but we have to maybe go back to basics and figure out what is it really mean and how it's affecting our life and prevent us from the meaningful growth that we are all looking for, the purpose of our existence. Uh, Even within the present planet, we have a enormous level of opportunities for us to um, figure out who we are, what we are, how how is life become more meaningful and doing the things that we want to do despite all the programming, manipulation, deception, and corruption. Um, like anything and everything, it is so much better to figure out where we are at. Just like our weight, if we ever step into a scale, we know where we are at. We can continue to live thinking what we put in, how we consume things, information, the food, um, everything that we are consuming, the level of stress play a big role into the outcome. We have assessment into our finances, our physical well-being, physical strength, our spirituality, um, our social standing. When we have a clear knowledge of where we are at, this is when things become much easier. Now we know what we are working with. Us continue to speak about spiritual warfare, information warfare, but we are always hitting a brick wall. Things are not going to get farther because of our sleepiness, because of our disconnection, because lack of awareness, um, because uh, reality is we can always switch off the mainstream anytime we choose to. This is all the power we have. We don't need to consume anything. No one's ever demanding us to do anything. All the powers, all the options are within us. But when we decide uh, we are just going to exist in a shallow waters, shallow information. This is when things become a bit more complicated and challenging. Now, no one wants to have a challenging, difficult life. We like to have a effortless or easier life. This is what this whole thing is all about. We think we want easier, more manageable life. We want to manage our health. We want to manage our finances. We want to manage our relationships. We want to do all of these things, but we are really not having much clarity about as where we are at. This is how I'm gonna go with this. I am also work in progress. I just try to share things that how it's through my intuition, how it helps me, how I navigate information. It is helping me to do the things that I enjoy doing, and maybe a less toxic, much easier existence. So let's see where we are going with this. Uh, we're very critical about um, elite class. We call them parasites. We call them um, all kinds of not so pleasant things. Where does all these hostility come from? Um, it's not that we don't enjoy, we like looking at beautiful things, see how the glamorous life of these social classes. We read them in magazines, we look at them on TV. It's nothing personal, but when we learn to see things as exactly they are, your perspectives change. Now, indefinite consumption of energy is a cost. This is the whole 8 billion people and our energies, our existence. We are so confused about things. Um, in the social structure, when we aren't practicing our common sense, critical thinking, logical thinking, that confuses people. When we have a business model set up to manage population, we're not using common sense, we're not using our critical thinking, we don't have empathy or compassion. It confuses people. We don't like for us to be confused when it comes to our interpersonal relationships. We can point these things out, we can red flag them, we can make a disconnection immediately because we know there is a level of deception. This is too good to be true. So when we are blindly participating in these circumstances, it has a huge effect in our personal life. So therefore we make these a decision to no longer engage with this kind of circumstances. It's a liability for you. So we use our critical thinking, logical thinking, our observation in order to function. Same can be true for when dealing with the external circumstances, because they are really not they're really not invested in your well-being. They're after much more sinister consumption of our ignorance lead to their consumption, because we aren't paying attention to how our energies, how the information warfare, spiritual warfare is utilized and relied on our ignorance, so that lower grade systems can exist. A perfect example, I saw the other day, one of the girls were asking one of these Rothschild individual something about the global situation. The person of such obscene luxury and a privileged position immediately said to the girl, who are you representing? What is your outlet? She says, oh, we're independent, sir. What he did immediately was, forget that and start walking away. So this is a person that have a lot of authority over our human uh, experiences, our human system. Instead of using that as an opportunity, hey, I really like to hear from you, where you muster up the courage to speak to me, so let's have a discussion, because time is all they have, because they live in enormous luxury in this fancy tower that they live in, out and about mingling, or have opportunity to have a dialogue with the person, they will just cut you off. So when you see this thing, the ordinary nobody would, like me, would have an opinion. Wow, what a waste of opportunity for you to get to know one person from the 8 billion people, but because they have no respect, they don't have a critical thinking, they don't have common sense, they don't have empathy, they really could care less about what you think, how you your opinion, because it's not something they can control, because this is from an independent outlet. So the information warfare immediately, my beady little eyes go into, oh yeah, this is what information warfare in real time, happening in real time. Uh, Noted. This is where you need to flag. This is why it's so effortless for us to call these uh, frequencies as exactly what they are. The same parasitic group, like the mosquito, they're wine and dine with the mosquito group. So it's a similar frequencies, right? Um, we hear in the regular life, when you have a job where you should be grateful. If you're an immigrant, you should be grateful, which is really true. We need to humble ourselves and have a level of gratefulness for all the opportunities. But at the same time, if you're consuming loosh of 8 billion people, have a little bit of grace and humble yourselves and have gratefulness, have appreciation. But they don't have that kind of courtesy, because the parasitic frequencies, parasitic existence is not a practical existence. If they're few, they're okay, but they are attacking the host. This is happening in your personal body. These parasitic groups, they are not logical, they're not practical, they're not critical, they don't really know when to stop, but they keep on consuming. So this is how the information warfare really affects. In a personal level, before we discuss about political division, it's really important for us to look at our own self. It's like different layers of information warfare happening parallel continuously. Um, how we deal with our family, our immediate family, our close family, our extended family. How do we resolve problems? Usually when if you have broken families, the bringing up the younger generation is a complicated thing. Looking after older generation is a complicated thing. In every part of the world, we don't have a nursing home we can just shove everybody in and wash your hands and pay some handsome dollars. This is not the reality, but we need to have these problem resolving discussion. We celebrate all kinds of different functions and meaningless talks about celebrity cultures, or play some silly games. These are opportunity for us to really identify problems and how we resolve them, how we nurture them, because the truth is, when we work in a healthcare field in the community, one of the greatest opportunities you have. You can have a dialogue with these generations, and how their life shaped them, and the circumstances that affects them, their well-being. One of the uh, we are really discussing about happy moments, maybe very rare, but most painful experience. You can be 80, 90 years old, or years of age. You can still speak about when you're 6, 7, 8 years old, how your siblings, 5 sisters, tell on you, your father belt you, and you didn't have any food because of the potato famine or whatever the circumstances. These things really do matter. How you treat your family members really matter, because these doesn't cost integrity and compassion and kindness. Of course, the parasitic group always says, well, the kindness is a weakness. We shouldn't be promoting kindness. It's really a weakness. It's a breeding ground for all kinds of problems. Of course they would say that, right? It's like misery loves company. You don't want to promote something that you're not part of, your toxic trauma body. You haven't healed anything about yourself. You haven't looked at anything in depth. The shallow existence. Greed is the driving force. Ego is the driving force. Of course, these people aren't going to promote kindness and compassion, but the difference between kindness, compassion, and the hostility is when someone is kind to you, when somebody is compassionate towards you, when somebody values your existence, they give you time. This is when you get transformed into something more. The growth really happened where you lined up with the kindness. You're thinking, wow, this is really nice feeling. This is really happy place. We can be comfortable in this place. We can appreciate these kind of energetic frequencies. Therefore, I'm going to do better because someone shown me this kind of grace. Versus when somebody is constantly angry, sabotaging you, gaslighting you, manipulating you, and corruption is all over and trying to uh, hijack your peace. This is taking you lifetime to heal. It's taking you so much time, energy from your life to put these things in perspective and go towards that healing journey. That's the information warfare. This is how we look at life and navigate life with clarity. When you have a two different families, your mother, your father, I personally went through this. If you go here, you are not allowed to go here, therefore you are stuck in this place. And I am a child who used to roam around in a lot of land and a lot of experiences. This is something who I am. This is how I built my character. So if we go to a city in a little piece of land in a place, it's difficult for me to exist because this is not something I am used to. So instead of adults getting together and say, wow, we all must pitch in, she's going to stay here while she's going to school and then she can go back there for a month. Instead of navigating life, problem solving, instead of sharing the burden because they all carry you on top of their big head, we don't know how to resolve problems. We don't know how to teamwork. We don't know how to address the division in our personal life. We are all talking about political division. We're all speaking about political correctness, but you can't speak to your mother, your brother, your father, all kinds of situations happening in the background. If you have to, if you don't take a certain medical thing you are shunned from the family, you are no longer able to see. We've done this, we've seen this in real time, real experiences. This is what information warfare looks like. Before the external control grid um, get a hold of your energy directly, you have gone through this level of experience. We have no loyalty. We doesn't know how to, as a collective human species, we don't know how to prioritize, problem solve, uh, speak about differences. If we have family members whose points of view is a little bit differently than yours, hey, this is something that requires a lot of dialogue. They are whole individual. They have their own soul's journey. They have their own information. They have their own knowledge and awareness as to why they behave the way they are. Maybe this is a space for open dialogue and understand or have a clarity about information warfare instead of bickering and yelling and sabotaging each other. I do, by the way, I've done this thing the other day because of the cell phone thing. We switched the company, and they were, once you pay your bill and you start up a new one, we pay like a whole bunch of money for this transition, yet there's a hidden fee. They said it's like $11 or something, but now they put him into a collection agency. It's not an honorable disconnection from their part. They never send you a letter or email something, hey, you own this much money, thank you for your customer, we appreciate your participation on our business, this is the outstanding amount. This is no honor there. They are playing these games, blaming one company, and they're, if you call them, they're blaming another company, and they are playing these games. When they get a hold of me, I don't have any tolerance for these kind of nuisansical thing. So you loses it over. But I am hypocritical because I am speaking to somebody and talking about how they are not having effective communication. There's no patience. So you learn in real time, hey, you got some work to do, because they're not just after your $20, they're after your energetic disturbance there, because they need to have some kind of interaction. This is what parasitic consumption is all about. They're attacking liver, kidney, and they're just trying to, if you clear up one thing, they're trying to latch on to something else. So this is how the parasitic system work. It's playing out in real time, in real life, like this. We don't have an easy discharge from things. It has to be complicated. It has to linger around, and they will always find a way to latch on and trying to consume your dissatisfaction, because you have a reaction. So you have to be smart when dealing with the information spiritual warfare. A sneak up on you. Even the most patient person like me can get all worked up over something like that. So they are relying on that kind of outburst. And this is an example. This is how we navigate difficult information spiritual warfare. We are not really thinking. Um, also, sometimes one of the most important thing for us to notice is, if someone is angry and behaving in irrational manner, not logical, if not logical, not practical, and in the family politics we see this very often. If they are attacking a black sheep or a spiritually connected individual, you see the faces of these people. They are there's nothing there. We run into brick wall there. They always find fault. They always find a reason to have a blowout. They show up in many different layers: the addiction, the anger issues, the uh, information sabotage, because they're always seeing things supports their cause. So therefore, you are not seeing individuals and their existence as exactly they are. You have a manipulated version of other people, other members, other families, because our ability to think, see things as exactly they are is not available, because we are disconnected, because we are emotionally withdrawal. We can't be rational. This is how information warfare happens from the beginning of time, and we are not really recognizing. Financial situations are there. We are going to accumulate things without having any kind of self-worth. We can be living in a beautiful house and have a really nice job, but it doesn't mean you're not a toxic trauma body, because you haven't looked internal. You go through easier shallow existence. The first layer of our existence is just accumulating things. Although it's going to weigh you down eventually, we are easier to be important and have a self-importance and use our ego-based living. This is another level of deception and inaccurate information, because after all, we're fighting spiritual information warfare. So this is how we um, navigate life, and information warfare sort of have a different layers of clarity about things. Become so much easier. Then we know, hey, everyone is speaking about this spiritual warfare. This is happening to me. I'm going through this my whole life. I'm trying to heal from these burdens, and these things are making me really anxious. I have anxiety. I have addiction problems. I have spiritually, I am confused. These things need to be dealt with. This is how we win as information warfare, spiritual warfare. We can have a politician like Mr. T trying to make things better or fix anything, but we really don't have the evidence to know that that's accurate. We don't know for sure, but what we can do is that'd be like really great, and it's a wishful thinking. But we have this time to work on our own life, work on our own growth, and recognizing how the information warfare really affects our mind, body, spirit vessel, and in this spiritual journey. So we know for sure we really don't have families to rely on. We really don't have any friends to rely on when it counts. It'd be nice. They're going to be there at some point. The most unsuspecting individuals are going to make sure you're okay. This is how we restore the hopefulness. But there's a big possibility it's not going to come from the people who really you done such a great things looking after everyone, spend the compassion and kindness to everyone, but you can be stuck without much help, because we don't really have awareness about how to resolve complicated problems. This is how the health and well-being of our life become priority, and sickness doesn't have to be without any kind of lessons. People don't need to suffer in silence without purpose. So these experiences happen so that another can learn, and we can discover things about the spiritual information warfare and be equipped to handle these complicated times. And when we know the most important groundwork, the roots are there, external factors really not going to affect you much. We don't need to be fighting and bickering at each other because we have a political or religion differences, because now we're mostly going to pay attention to, hey, a little bit of accountability, transparency, logical, practical thinking. Where is all this coming from? We are looking for something a little bit more holistic than this is what you're offering. So therefore, we're not going to be victim and taken advantage of these divisive tactics from the external forces. So this is how I navigate information. It helps me to look at a bigger picture. When you have nothing, when you have nobody, your self-importance is bare minimal or next to nothing. This is when you learn the most important lessons of self-worth, the boundaries, and logical, practical thinking, and the mystery of things, and digging a little bit in depth to discover information. Lately, I am not even looking at conspiracy theories much, because I am too busy trying to discover something more about myself and how to resolve some of these issues, some minor problems maybe, because the hard work is done and is behind, and coming out of the victimhood is a really another important milestone for growth of human vessel. Thank you.